Good afternoon, students. It's Wendi Fraser from Canam here in Australia. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming to Canam Ed Talks Miss Erica Wilson, who Canam has counselled, and she is studying in Australia. Welcome to Ed Talks, Erica.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. So firstly, Erica, whereabouts in India are you from?
So I am from West Bengal, from a city, Kolkata, but I'm originally from a little small town called Asansol. But my entire process through Canam has been through Kolkata, West Bengal.
Excellent. And where are you studying in Australia? What university?
So I'm in the University of South Australia in Adelaide, and I'm doing my bachelor's in social sciences in aging and disability.
And how are you finding your studies?
It's really interesting, actually. I like it because one of the things I really wanted to do was help people. It didn't really matter which way, as long as I'm a big people person. I just love conversing and being in a conversation with an old person and getting to know about their history and speaking about themselves and just listening to them. So that's how I got into choosing the Bachelor's of Social Sciences in Aging and Disability, because it's a course in which you really have to open up to people and be open-minded yourself. So that's the entire reason why I chose it. And I'm really happy and I really enjoy studying.
Okay. So in your class, do you have many nationalities studying with you?
Yeah, we have many Indians. We have a few Nepalis. We have a few students from Vietnam. We have a few students from Hong Kong. We have a few Australians as well. And many people from different countries.
So it's very multicultural, your class.
Very multicultural.
Which is really good for you, because it helps also open your mind and hear about how other people do things and where they come from, it's a great way to grow when you meet people from other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell me, have you got a part-time job?
Yep, I do. So I work as a retail assistant in Craft, which is a pretty big company in Australia, and it has a few stores in Brisbane, Melbourne, where the headquarters are, Adelaide, Perth. So I've been working there for the past 5 months, and I really enjoy the job. It's really good. Because it's a job in which you're talking to customers on a daily basis. You're helping them, decide their needs, and it's really as a student, the work environment in working at Craft is really good. It's a very homely environment. You don't feel like an outsider as an international student. I work with Australians, all of them. None of them are international. They are all Australians, and I'm the only international student. And I have never felt more welcomed in a job before. So
That's
really
excellent.
Yeah.
Did you work back in India? Did you have a job back in India?
I didn't really, but the thing is, in India, you can't really work because you don't have the time. You don't. Like, for example, over here, university, you can choose the days you go to university. In India, for college and university, you have to go from Monday to Saturday. So you have no time. And it's from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4:30 in the evening. So you have no time to work at all. So that's why I didn't really work back in India. I pretty much just went to school and came back home. I went to college. That's it. Nothing much.
Well, isn't that great? Here you are working for a large company like Kaiser that sell homewares and many specialty products, and you're in a customer service role. So that's a great testament that you had no experience and you've got a job and you're working. What do you earn an hour, if I can ask?
Yep. So on weekdays, I'm 19 years old, and over here I think you get paid according to your age, and they paid on an hourly basis. So on weekdays I earn $25 per hour, and on Saturdays it's $30, and on Sundays is $35. On Thursdays, which are late night shopping days, we after 6 o'clock you earn $30, the same as Saturday.
So you're quite comfortable with the money that you're earning in Australia. It's helping to support your living costs in Australia. You're in a city like Adelaide. Do international students get any special benefits by living in Adelaide?
I would say Adelaide is a really small place compared to other big cities in Australia, and it's a really homey. You won't feel like, to be honest, I have not felt out of place, or I've not felt homesick ever since I've been here. It's just, it has a very homey environment, and like people are here really sweet to you. They'll talk to you and they want to know what's going on with you. So, and for international students, I would say Adelaide is a really good place to come and study in, because you have so many international students from all over the world coming and studying in Australia, and there's so much of diversity, and you can learn so much about each other's like friends from different countries. And plus, like, the university, they have so many amenities for international students. So like in case like you need help, you can go to a student advice and it's free of cost. So taking advantage of the resources provided, you should really make good use of it, and the results are really nice.
Well, I know from having visited Uni SA, they've got amazing swimming pool, sporting facilities. They even have an area where you can go and purchase a laptop. They have great cafes on campus. So you could never get homesick, because it's like one big family there with all the facilities that they provide. You can make friends with all the different types of social groups. Now, I know you and I have spoken before. Tell students, it is a long flight from India, isn't it? So how would you prepare for that long flight?
So for me, usually like from India, if you're coming to Australia, you come via Singapore, which is the route many students take. But for me, it was different, because I got my visa 2 weeks before I had to leave. And I booked my tickets as soon as I got my visa, and it was a real rush. And I did not get tickets through Singapore to Australia. So I had to fly from West Bengal, Kolkata to Abu Dhabi, and from Abu Dhabi to Sydney, and from Sydney to Adelaide. So it was a really long journey. So it was like 17-hour journey completely. And I would say when you're packing, packing for Australia, you have to pack according to the season, like appropriately, because the weather here is unpredictable. Especially the weather is really unpredictable. Like 5 minutes it was raining, the next minute it's shining, and the mornings are warm, the nights are really cold. So like I always had a jumper on me. First of all, like the main things you need to pack while you're traveling to Australia is, first you have to have your documents, important documents, visa, passport, that's a given, like health insurance, then your confirmation of enrollment, all your documents you need to have carried it with you. And when it comes to clothing, like I said, season appropriate clothing, like summer, winter, and maybe comfortable shoes while you're traveling. Don't wear something that will make you uncomfortable because you're taking a long flight. So it's better you're comfortable in whatever you're wearing, because you have a long journey ahead of you. And if you do get lost while you're traveling on your journey, always ask questions, or always ask someone, because the airport has so many people moving around. You can just ask anyone for help if you're lost. So I would say always ask questions. If you need help, ask for help. Don't sit quietly and freak out about it. I would always say ask for help. So the journey to Australia is not that complicated, because I've flown abroad before. It wasn't really hard for me to understand, but it's a pretty easy process, and you learn with time. I would say that.
Okay. And accommodation, what advice would you give students if they're thinking of studying in Australia? What would you advise them when it comes to accommodation?
So for accommodation, I would say if you want to live on campus, so you have on campus accommodations, you have dorm rooms, you have to apply for them. I didn't. When I was coming to Australia, I went on this website called Flatmates, which have listings for different accommodations, houses, units. So I found my student accommodation through there. So I'm living right now in a student accommodation called Student Rooms, and I've been here since I've come here. And I would say I booked my accommodation before I could come, just to be prepared, because when you land, you need to go someplace. You cannot go looking for accommodations then. So I would say book your accommodations before you come, so that it's not that hectic when you come here.
Okay. And I always tell students in pre-departure, do not pack Indian food. You can get Indian food everywhere, can you not?
Yes, there are a lot of Indian restaurants here, and you'll get everything, all the spices, you'll get utensils, everything. You don't need to carry your entire house with you when you're coming here, because it's very convenient actually. That's one of the reasons why I like Australia, is because even if you're craving home food, it won't taste the same, but you still get stuff here. If you're looking for a certain item which you only get in India, you will get it here in Indian stores. So you don't need to worry about that. When you're coming here, you have plenty of Indian stores to come to and go and do your grocery shopping from. So that's something you should not worry about. Yeah.
And succeeding in your studies, when you learn in Australia, it's very different to going to university or college in India. It is a bit of a culture shock in the way that we teach, because we like participation, and you also need to reference and research. Can you speak anything about that, to give some tips to students why it's important to understand the way that we teach and what it means to your final results?
So I would say the education system of here is really different. It's not the same like India. India is really hectic. I would say I am actually excelling over here really well. I wasn't a bad student really back in India, but over here when you come, the studies are not that pressurizing. In India, you have to mug from books, you have to memorize everything, you have to have everything up here. But over here, it's more practically based, and you just have to read and share your thoughts. And when you're doing assignments, you have to be straightforward. The question asks you something, you need to answer that. You cannot don't beat around the bush. Get straight to the point. And the assignments over here are pretty easy. It's because you're sharing your own views, and you have readings that you're supposed to complete in a week. Because as a social sciences student, I have university every Tuesday. All my 4 classes are on one day. When I enrolled into my courses, I put all my classes on one day. So every class, every week, you have readings to complete, and based on those readings, you have to use those readings, the information you collected from there, the knowledge that you got from those readings, and apply it while you're doing your assignments. So it's pretty much, what are your understandings? The professor, the tutor wants to know your views on it. So it's not hard when it comes to assignments. At first, yes, it's going to be a bit difficult to adjust to it, but eventually you'll get used to it. For me, it was personally, I took some time to get adjusted to the entire system here, because here you have assignments and very rarely you have exams. Because in my course, I don't think I've had an exam yet, and I don't have an exam for the next 1 year. But in India, it's more you have exams, you're tested. Over here, it's you do assignments, and I feel assignments are better compared to exams.
And group activity?
And when it comes to group activity, you'll always get, if you will not get a group in which people agree on your opinions. You'll always have a group with people of different opinions. So all you have to do is adjust. How are you going to adjust to it, facilitate it. So like, I know from my experiences working in group works, or like we have a course called group work in which it's nothing to do with paper. You don't have to write anything, you don't have to do assignments. It's all group work. So you have to do a presentation, but in a group of 4. Now, you'll have people who are not that, they don't put much effort into it. But at the end of the day, you all get graded as one. So you have to find a balance. You have to. If someone's giving in their 20%, you have to be the next 80%. You can't do anything about it. But like I said, if there's a problem, you can always talk to the tutor about it, and she or he will make sure that you're comfortable in whichever way possible. So it is hard. You won't always get the best group mates to work with, but you never know. Sometimes you do you're put into a group in which everyone agrees and everyone's fine with everything and everything goes smoothly. So that's how it is.
Well, this is part of growing, is everyone having a different opinion and learning how to challenge those opinions, but in a respectful environment, and work towards the good of your assignment. Yep. So it's a good way of growing. You tend to grow. So what would you say to any student considering coming to Australia? You think Australia's a great destination, it's a safe country, there's opportunities. What would you say? You're telling students, if they're thinking, I don't know, do I go to Australia? Do I go to America? Do I go to Canada? What would you say? What is the great things that you think about Australia? I know some students have told me all the things that they find beautiful about Australia, that they love, like the twinkle in the sky because of the stars, or the air and the water is clean. They feel safe. They've been able to navigate public transport. They've made friends. What advice would you say to someone why you should consider coming to Australia? And also why they should look at maybe UniSA and Adelaide as a destination?
Yeah, so I would tell any student coming to Australia, it's the best place to be in, to be honest. I feel like I've made the best decision coming here. When I came, I went for a whole week. I only explored Adelaide. I went to all the beaches in Adelaide, and it was so beautiful because it was the first time I saw clear blue water. I could make out like where the blue water was and where the green started, the depth of, you can make out the depth by looking at the water, because it was like crystal clear. And I feel like it's the best place to be because it's so friendly. People out here are so friendly. If you need help, you're given. If you're in need of help, it's provided. And I would say it's a really good environment for a student. And if I have to speak for UniSA, you have so many students from all over the world. You won't feel left out. You'll have a lot of friends. You can make a lot of friends. You can, learn about each other, backgrounds, and you always have someone, to count on. So I would say Adelaide, especially Adelaide, is a really place to come to. But Australia as a whole is a really good country. So if you've chosen to study in Australia, you've made a good decision. You have.
Well, what more can I say? You've really sold Australia to me, and I love that you are enjoying your time in Australia. You're going to be so successful. You've got part-time work, you're fitting in, you've got a social life, you're doing well in your studies. So I look forward to seeing you continue this wonderful journey that you're on and hearing when it's time for your graduation. So students, if you are thinking of studying in Australia, please talk to one of the Canam consultants. It's like how we've helped Erica come to Australia and made the right choice with her to find the right course and the right university in the right state for you. So please contact one of our 35 officers. And Erica, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for your honesty on your time in Australia. I really appreciate you telling students, because I can tell them, but I think it's best hearing from you, a student, your life in Australia and how you're feeling about Australia. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really like the fact that I've got this opportunity to help the students coming here, going through the same process I went through. I was at once upon a time I was in their shoes, so I know how it's gonna be. But don't worry, you'll have it all figured out. Eventually, you're not always gonna get what you want. You cannot have too many expectations, but you just need to keep your head up. That's all I would say.
Well, thank you once again.